What's the date today? You know the date?
That's a good question. Is it the 27th?
We'll go with that. March 27 or 28, 2015, I did an interview with my guy, former WBO Cruiserweight champion Tyrone. We're both actually down here right this moment in that building. The Florida Golden Gloves is going on. The first bout should be in a few minutes. So I did an interview with Tyrone. We talked about Hartford boxing, and my camera cut off after about 12 minutes. So I'm going to finish up. This is last year. I was just about to ask you about Kelvin Anderson.
Yes.
Tell me about Kelvin.
Oh, wow. A lot of people don't know about Kelvin, but I do. He was really my best friend. Told me never be an opponent, always be a champ. Gave me some USA boxing stuff, matter of fact, Kelvin.
Now let me just say, for people who don't know, obviously, Kelvin was a great amateur. He went down in that plane crash in 1980. United States boxing team crashed over Poland, somewhere near Poland, in 1980. And so you fought Kelvin, what, twice?
I fought Kelvin once. I used to spar with Kelvin.
Yeah.
I fought Kelvin once, I sparred with Kelvin a lot. And I fought Andre McCall, I think it is.
Yeah, and he passed away also on the same plane crash.
Yes, sir.
Crazy.
And it was outstanding amateur fighters. I fought Kelvin in a place where I shouldn't have been at the time. At the time. Well, put it like this, I should have been at the time. And we became real good friends. Very mature for his age. I was older than him, but he was very mature for his age. And I knew the mother, Miss Anderson, and the father, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Jesse Anderson, and he loved his kids, really loved his kids. And Calvin was one of the most outstanding amateur fighters in the country at the time, because he won the sports festival.
Right.
And matter of fact, they used to have that on TV. I
think it was Wide World Sports he fought on.
Right. And he ended up winning the heavyweight, not the light heavyweight, because he couldn't make the heavyweight division no more.
Right.
And he was getting bigger. You could look at this guy and see that physically he was getting bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, quick hand, lot of power. Dedicated to the game, worked very hard. Would end up winning the sports festival, like I said, and I think that was on ABC at the time.
1979.
Okay, good. And I know he was like rated in the world as a heavyweight instead of light heavyweight.
You know who he lost to? As I recall, he lost internationally to Sixto Soria. That's who Leon Spinks beat to win the gold medal.
Right, the Cuban. Right.
So.
And don't none of y'all get this fool. When you fighting the Cubans, you fighting grown men, you fighting the best. The Calvin fought him at, I think, a young age, 18 to 17,
right.
Was 17 to 19, whatever that may have been at the time. And he fought a hell of a fight. And Calvin, the most important thing to him is being a world champion. Very manable young man, very kind, giving guy.
That's Corey Spinks, right?
And that was a sad, yeah,
that's
sad
Corey,
day.
right?
Hey, Corey. All right,
Hey.
How you doing? But that was a sad day for Hartford, Connecticut.
Yeah.
And then we have Marlon Stalin, you understand, who came around, who was also a good fighter too, and he did his thing. And
what about Harold Rice? You ever box Harold? You must have boxed Harold, right?
Harold Rice, yeah, big Harold. Harold, big guy.
Yeah.
Harold fought trained with Jerry Cooley.
I was gonna say I saw him. You know what? I was a kid and I remember they were on TV at a place in Texas named, it was like Gillies or something. It was like a bar,
right.
And they used to do fights there. And he
right.
fought Jerry in an exhibition,
right?
In I think it was called Gillies, something in Dallas, Texas,
right?
And and I heard he's in Hartford. He's around. Somebody told me if you go on Albany Avenue, you see him.
Yes. I spoke to Harold a while back, and I talked to him a little bit. I call him every now and then when I end up finding the number.
Right.
And I talk to him every now and then. But he was a hell of a fighter.
Yes, sir.
And yes, hell of a fighter. Another, we done had Hartford has some great fighters at the time coming out of that area.
How about Dale? Dale Wortham.
Dale Wortham, another great fighter. Another good fighter.
I remember when
amateur.
Moochie fought Curry, and he sparred with you, Michael, Troy, Felix.
Dale.
But they said Dale was the most like Donald Curry.
Yeah,
he was the main guy.
Because he was tall, quick hands, just like Curry and stuff like that there. And, a lot of people, the whole Hartford seemed like it just shut down that day when Moochie fought Donald Curry, and everybody was like, because fights came on CBS, which is fights are coming back on the network again. And the guy who's really behind the whole thing that I found out is Lee Heyman. A lot of people don't know. Al Heyman, excuse me. Al Heyman is actually was a promoter of concerts of all the big Motown, Jackson 5 Commodores back in the day.
Right.
All those guys, and now he's into boxing, and he got a whole bunch of boxers. And so he's doing some big things now with the boxing business.
Now let me ask you this about Duke. Everyone always loves a Duke story. Tell me one Duke story.
You know what?
Johnny Duke.
That's the funniest thing, Scully, that you did. That you answered me that now. I don't know if Duke did this to you. When I first came down there, Johnny Duke's, and I got into boxing and stuff like that, you had to go through, like, I think it's a ritual that you used to go
initiation.
through. Yeah, okay.
What do you do, with the hammer?
Yeah, the hammer.
Tell that story.
And you close your eyes, and I think he put something around your wrist.
He put your hand, Johnny Duke he make you put your hand on the table.
Right.
And he said, look, we're going to see if you're tough.
Right.
If you can take it. You can't box if you're not tough. He said, I'm going to take this nail, and I'm going to hammer it through the skin, like right there, between your thumb and your finger. And he did that to you too?
Yes, and he would
bang, he'd make you close your eyes, bang the hammer on the thing, and he would act like he nailed you.
Right.
And then he would grab you and he'd put the tissue, the towel over your arm to stop the bleeding.
Right.
And you're standing there thinking you're bleeding.
Right.
And he just wanted to see if you were going to go through it.
Right. So you know what? I went through the Duke test. I passed the test. I became world champion. So and I had to learn something.
You know how many people he must have traumatized?
Oh my God.
That guy, man.
And you know what? And they didn't even say anything about child abuse.
Back then that was okay. The parents didn't mind. Like he was teaching them not to be afraid. Right.
And think about that now. If we did that now, wouldn't it have
Duke would be in jail.
Okay.
We'd be bailing Duke out.
Yeah. And something else about Mr. Dukes. He stood up for a lot of the young inner city kids, in the inner city at the time, who would go to court and things like that there. Dude was a good guy. He was a good guy. And you know what? He kept me from staying in South Africa like a fool. And I'm glad
what
he
happened?
did that.
I know you went over there to fight.
Yeah, I went over there to fight. I lost against Johnny Deploy. And some people who's in boxing thought I think through that fight. No, he actually hit.
Well, I heard he hit real hard.
He was a vicious puncher, and he actually really hit me, and I wanted to say over in South Africa at the time. And I think that was a big experience for me being over in South Africa and seeing that and going to Soweto and learning a little bit of history about South Africa at the time. But I didn't know what apartheid stood for or anything like that, and all the crazy things was going on there. But when I was there, they were treating, Americans who were going there like royalty, So it was a different experience for me. But I got the experience of seeing what boxing gave to me was just an experience of going to different countries that I probably wouldn't have never been able to go to.
And let me ask you, what was Duke doing over there? Was he telling people his record was 62-1, with,
You know what?
with
You know
60
what?
knockouts. Then he won one.
No, not that I recall, John. No, not that I recall.
What was he doing his thing over there?
Yeah,
like
he
you
was-
know how
yeah,
Duke is.
Yeah, he was, and just keeping being out. Matter of fact, me and Kuda Leach went over there,
Yeah.
and we both lost over there.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing is when you go on trips like that to South Africa and stuff like that, there, I don't know if that happens now. They always find the guy's weakness, whatever that weakness may be, was drinking.
I think I heard the story. I think I heard it.
So you know what? And one thing I don't do, how do I let you get me on this? Because I never talk about things on Facebooks and stuff like that there, and just things like that. But crazy things, man, crazy things. But again, I had an experience in boxing. I had a little time of being a world champ, so that's it.
And it all started in Hartford.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's another tale from Hartford with Tyrone Booth.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.